What is up, guys? Raziel here, and I'm doing another video for you. Sorry, it's been a while. I usually want to get one video out a week, but had some internet troubles and other things going on. So, yeah, this one took 2 weeks. But anyway, I am just as a forewarning. This video will contain quite a bit of colorful language, and it's again more of a podcasty type of video. So. There is stuff on the screen to watch if you are bored, but this is something just more designed for you to just listen and, as I ramble on in frustration. Anyway, I was originally going to do, my next video was going to be my review of Legion so far, but I've decided to kind of postpone that in light of recent balance changes. So I wanted to focus more once again. I know a lot of videos have been centered around this, but that's because to me right now it's the biggest problem and biggest issue in World of Warcraft Legion at this point. So let's get into class balance. All right, specifically Death Knights here again, because this is more of a Death Knight focused channel. So yeah. Let me just start out by saying, what in the holy mother of fuck is going on over there at Blizzard? I mean, I've said it in so many videos before. I'll say it again. Right now, I mean, other than RNG, which is fucking terrible design right now, the dev team has no clue what to do with balance, and class balance is the worst it has ever been in an expansion, in my opinion. It's awful. It's so out of whack, you know. I mean, realistically, with DPS classes, you know, top specs should be doing 20, 30k DPS more on average than, you know, the lowest specs. Not the way it is now, where top specs can, you know, hit 100k plus, you know, upwards even in some cases 150k damage more than the lower specs. That's unacceptable. It's been going on for way too long, especially in an expansion where you're trapped into what you initially pick, whatever spec you initially are interested in playing. You're trapped in that spec because of how artifact power and all that gated shit works. So, it's one of the worst problems that an expansion like this can have, is having bad class balance. But I digress. You know, I just feel that the excuse me, fuck, can't even talk. I'm getting so worked up. The dev team is so out of touch with the game. It almost feels like they don't play it. That, you know, they're very much on the outside looking in, and, you know, making decisions that way. While we, the players, are in the game, see the issues, have seen the issues since PTR, alpha, beta, and been very constructive and vocal about these issues, and they haven't been touched because, you know, it's Blizzard's way or the highway. If they didn't think of the idea, then they're not putting it in the game because, you know, they should be smarter than us, or I don't know what the fuck is going on with that. But recently they did, Ian Hazakostas and Lore hosted a Q&A, and you know, I feel bad for Ian in the sense that the Q&A came out literally a day after the announcement that he was now lead game designer for World of Warcraft. I don't hate Ian Hazakostas. I just feel like he's done some really stupid shit in the past, like, you know, especially when it comes to class balance, when he's flat out said, you know, an expansion ago that they wanted Demo Warlocks to be bad. They didn't want people to play it. Like, you don't fucking say shit like that. I mean, that's the equivalent of me. I'm gonna, you know, I use car analogies a lot. I don't know why. I don't really know a whole lot about cars, but anyway, you know, it's like if I were trying to sell a car and then saying, you know, I have 3 cars for sale, but everybody who bought this third model, we really don't want you driving that anymore. So we're making it crappy on purpose. Like, what? You would not only not sell cars, but even in the future you would stop selling cars because of saying something like that. That's a terrible PR move. And with the QA, I think he ran into a similar issue where, you know, his excuse for why balance was so off and why some classes were underperforming was because not enough people play it, so it skews the numbers on the logs and on the parses. You've got to be fist fucking me right now. That is the most terrible excuse I have ever heard in my life. Like, that's, once again, I'm going to pull in a car analogy here. That's like me, saying, hey, the only reason why people are driving this car, that has 250 horsepower over the car that is 200 horsepower is because more people like to drive that car. It's not because 250 horsepower is better than 200. It's because people like that car more and just happen by chance, RNG, to be playing it, to be driving it. What? No, people are playing fire mages. People are playing, the top performing classes because mathematically they are the best. They have the highest ceiling for damage, or the highest ceiling for tank survivability, or the highest ceiling for healing output. That's why people are playing it, because they, people that actually play the fucking game, in PTR and beta and alpha, through numbers, figured out and proved through their logs and their sims that it was the best. That's why people play it. Sure, there's a huge portion of people that gravitate to that spec because they hear it's the best, but they're not wrong. They're still playing the best class. So no, Ian, people aren't playing fire mages and protection paladins and protection warriors and guardian druids and these top performing fire mages. They're not doing these top specs because they're following a crowd. And because they think it's a cool spec. I mean, there are some people that play it for that reason, but the reason why it's so high is because it's the best. It is the best, undisputable fact, mathematical fact. Now, he may be right in that some of the lower performing specs aren't quite as bad as they're being portrayed on the logs because fewer people are playing them. That may be true, but you're not going to convince people to become a frost DK or to become a frost mage or to be a fucking elemental shaman by telling them it's because they're not as bad as you think. That's a terrible fucking reason to go play another class or spec. It's not as bad as you quite think. Yeah, that's like saying, you know what, you should get you should get squamous cell skin cancer instead of breast cancer because it's not as bad. I don't want either. Okay? So, yeah, that's just completely idiotic, and it seemed like very much a sidestep and a dodge of a question, as Blizzard tends to do in every chance they can. So, it's just ridiculous. But then in some blue posts, Ian did say that he didn't mean to come off that way, so he's already doing damage control because he knows he made a huge fucking mistake with how the Q&A was handled. Something I found interesting was there's been a Death Knights Unite thread on the forums for weeks now, and every time it gets capped, a new one gets made. And I'm 100% sure that there were probably hundreds, if not thousands, of DK-specific questions submitted for the Q&A. Oh, and look at that. They just completely dodged them. Not a single Death Knight question was even showed up in the Q&A. I'm not surprised. It ultimately tells me that they had a little bit of plans for some, and other ones are just going to ignore as long as possible because it is where they want it to be. And Blizzard's too chicken shit to just come out and say, "Hey, you should re-roll now because this is just how it is and how we want it to be because class fantasy." Anyway, yeah. So as we know, 7.1 is on its way. It's coming out literally in the next reset from the time this video is made. 6 days from now it comes out, and it's we got another tuning pass in the patch notes, and I'm aware for people that are going to say, well, there's enough time to do one more final patch. But you know what? Any of these changes that are direly needed right now are not going to make it in that, because they're changes that need to be tested on the PTR. They need to be run with a little bit, and I don't think Blizzard's just going to shove in at the last second of a release patch if the change has never been seen in any way, shape, or form prior to this. So don't get your hopes up, guys. I think this is what we're getting here. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong, but I'm probably not. Blood and Brewmaster Monks, the two worst tanks in the game right now, didn't see a single fucking change other than the tiny 5% stagger hotfix that Brewmasters got, I think 2 or 3 weeks ago. But Blood has seen nothing. No changes. And there's been mountains of constructive feedback given to Blizzard in the last month since release in PTR and alpha and beta. I find myself saying this so much because it's so redundant that I have to point out the fact that they've had all the data and all the feedback they've needed and have done fucking nothing. Anyway, there's still huge problems, and it's not even a mystery why Blood specifically has so many problems. I mean, and these are a good handful of the fixes could be hotfix. They don't even need a huge patch. It would be great to get some mechanical changes, but I understand that takes time. But we haven't got a single hotfix. Since a week before Legion launched, all Blood has gotten is nerfs. Nothing else. There hasn't been a single buff to the spec. So, for starters, hotfix Bone Shield back up to 20% from 16. Or at least get it up to 18%. The biggest thing that's on my mind right now, we need a baseline CD for a damage reduction. Just a baseline one. Okay, we fucking need it. Give it to us, Blizzard, because there's mechanics that require us to have them, and it sucks anus being the only fucking tank in the game that doesn't have the toolkit baseline to deal with those. Hello, Spear of Nightmares and Cenarius. And please, while you're at it, fix the fucking internal cooldown on Bone Shield, and also make it stacks not go away from dots and auras. That's stupid. That reduces the class 100% to spamming Morrowind because there's nothing else you can do. You have to keep your Bone Shield stacks up. That's bad design. That's piss poor design. Everybody knows it. There's no fucking way that they don't know it unless they're just a big group of mongoloids picking each other's assholes, gathered around their computers. Like, I just don't. I'm so frustrated with this right now that I'm not even making fucking sense with my insults. I mean, this is ridiculous. Okay, consumption is still 100% untouched, which is still the worst artifact ability in the game for tanks, especially against a single target. It's I will give it that it's helpful. It's decent in big packs, but against a single target, it does nothing for us. It's weaker than a Death Strike in most cases. Okay, and then we have. Frost is seeing some more. Once again, I called it. Can't say I didn't call it. More Band-Aid fixes, just like they've gotten every expansion since MoP, because they won't. I don't know why they refuse to, stop giving themselves a hard time. They want Frost, to have. They want to be bombarded, I guess, by people complaining about Frost, because a couple mechanical changes that actually make Frost and Unholy scale with gear would fix all of their fucking headaches. It would fix it all. But instead, they're just going to keep fucking Band-Aid patching by increasing the percentage of how much damage Obliterate does, how much damage Death Coil does, how much damage Howling Blast does. And you know what that's going to do? That means in 7.2, they're going to have to do it again. And they're going to keep doing it because that's how it's always gone. They keep buffing it because Frost and Unholy keep falling behind because they don't scale with gear, because the design is shitty, because Blizzard apparently doesn't have a single functioning fucking brain cell in their heads anymore. Because this is it's so simple. It's right in front of them. And they could have way fewer people, screaming at them on the forums about their classes if they just fucking fix some mechanical problems that have existed in the game for years and have been pointed out by the best players in the game for years. But they don't do it. I don't know why. I don't have words. It doesn't make any sense. If I was a developer of a game and there was and I was getting screamed at consistently by people to fix something, I probably fix it so that I stopped getting yelled at, and so that my customers are happy and kept giving me money. Okay, it's ridiculous. The demands of what DKs want right now are not unreasonable. We're not asking to be OP. We're asking to be viable. And I understand that, yes, right now, Blood can tank, albeit much more poorly than other tank classes, everything that's currently in the game. But why put but Mythic groups, Mythic Raiders, and even some high-end Heroic Raiders are not going to put their teams through that. Just for the same reason that Brewmasters are like not raiding at all, and there are almost none as well in Mythic progression. There are none in Mythic, practically none in Mythic progression. Blood and Brewmaster monk, Blood DK's Brewmaster monks. Because why would you handicap yourself that way when you could just bring a Prot Warrior, a Guardian, or a fucking Warrior and have such a much easier time doing the content? My mind is just completely fried with this. It's ridiculous. There shouldn't be a class in the game that can't handle something that everything else can baseline. Blood DK shouldn't have to, carry around big fucking stacks of the talent respec book so that they can change their talents every fight so that they can actually do the content. That's fucking retarded. I'm just really losing my patience with this dev team because, I want Legion to be good. And there's a lot of good stuff about Legion. But they're shooting themselves in the foot. They're fucking themselves over when they don't even have to. When it's a very easy solution to solve. But, this all boils down to something that Oryx, one of the community managers at Blizzard, posted. And he flat out summarized this entire frustration and where its root is coming from, where this problem is arising from, it's causing all these issues, is the fact that Blizzard said that we want to make a game that we want to play first and then invite you in, our guests in, to come play with us. Like, that is the most fucking awful design I have ever heard of that's made to sound like it's good. You make what the people want. If you're making a product and you need a paycheck, you make what the people want. Now, I get don't give in to every stupid demand that every player says, and it's got to be within reason, and it's got to be balanced, and it's got to be fair. I get that. Okay? There has to be a top performer and a bottom performer all the time, but the gap should be tiny. You should be able to play any spec, any class you want and be successful. Okay? You should be able to play exceptionally as a Frost Death Knight and do better than a mediocre Fire Mage. And in the case, that's not it right now. Okay? So, if I'm going to use a different analogy than a car this time. The way Oryx set that up, and I'll put the quote up on the screen so you can see it, if I haven't already at this point, is if I were to host a party, okay, a big party at my house, and I was inviting all these guests, but I'm like, I want this to be a party that I would have a lot of fun being in, that I'm going to have a good time, and I'm focused really on me, right? Okay? And you say, okay, that's fine, but those other people, if they don't like your party, they don't have to come. Just like if you don't like, what's going on, well, you don't have to play. True, but here's the difference. I'm not charging the people coming to my fucking party a $50 initial fee and then asking them to pay $15 for every fucking hour they stay at my party. These people aren't writing my paychecks at the party, okay? So yeah, they can do whatever the fuck they want. But in a video game where we're paying these people's fucking paychecks, we're the reason they have jobs, yeah, they should design something that's fun that they want to play. But, from the looks of it, they don't play it. Because there's shit that's been going on that, like I said, all the way back in fucking alpha. Probably was there, too, in the friend and family alpha that, public didn't even get access to. And they just ignore it. And there's been a lot of constructive feedback that is very far away from the bile and the acid, that a lot of trolls spew on their forums. But it's right here. And it boggles my fucking mind that he would say something like this, where it's, Hey, we're paying your paycheck. Listen to us. We play your game every day. Okay? You guys may have access to some numbers we don't, but right now, so many specs don't feel fun to play. They feel like you're gimping yourself and that you're broken. And then there's the huge wall of if you want to re-roll, and it's like, might as well just quit. I'm not going to go through all that fucking class campaign shit again and all that Suramar shit again. I'm not going to, spend weeks and weeks re-leveling up an artifact so that I'm competitive, even though I'm playing a class that is not my first choice. No. You guys, Blizzard is so egotistical, and they're coming off so full of themselves, and like they shit all over everything we say, and they're so sarcastic and snide. And I'm sorry, but I think Oryx is a bitch. Okay, the way he's treated people, and he's given a little bit of he's done a few positive things here and there, saying, hey, thanks for the feedback, we've sent it along, but then we get no response for weeks, and then when the patch notes comes out, there's no changes, and it's like, just fucking be transparent, communicate to us, see my communication video, nothing's changed since then. It's getting really frustrating, guys. Again, I know this is more of a rant than anything else, but next video I will provide some, more meaningful content here other than just a rant. But I'm guessing a lot of you other Death Knights out there feel the same way I do, and know that you're not alone just by watching this video. Anyway, guys, if you like the video, comment, rate, subscribe. It means a lot to me. Thanks for the support so far. Also, feel free in the comments or send me a message and what are you interested in me doing for my next video. At some point I want to do my Legion review. But I also, if you guys are interested in, my what I do, I was about to say rotation and blood. We all know that doesn't exist. But I've had a couple requests for add-ons, things like that. I go over my UI, go over several things. Just what are you interested in seeing? So, all right, guys, this has been Raziel. Keep it real.